Welcome, my friend. Today I want to speak to you with honesty, with calmness, and with a full heart. This is not a short video with 5 easy tips that you forget tomorrow. This is not 10 minutes of motivation that disappears as soon as life becomes hard again. No, this is something deeper, something real, something that can change the direction of your life. Because today we are talking about something important. The difference between a peaceful life and a painful one. We live in a world where everyone wants a reaction from you. People insult you because they want to control your feelings. They ignore you because they want you to break inside. They lie about you because they want to see you fall. And sadly, most people react fast. They react loudly. They react emotionally. And when they do that, they lose something precious. Their peace, their power, their self-respect. Most people do not even understand how many parts of their life they destroy with one emotional reaction. One argument that ruins a friendship. One message written in anger that ends a relationship. One moment of shouting that changes everything. So today, I am asking you to slow down, to listen carefully, because what I am about to share with you can make you a different kind of person. Not just a survivor, but someone strong, calm, untouchable. Not because life becomes easy, but because you learn how to protect your mind. This story is for anyone who is tired of being controlled by emotions. Anyone who is ready to take their power back. Anyone who wants to become peaceful inside. And yes, this video also builds your English. Every word is simple. Every sentence is clear. You don't only learn to speak better, you learn to think better. Let us begin. Lesson 1. Reacting means they control you. In the small city of Lunnebrook, there lived a young man named Raphael, 29 years old. He worked as a designer in a small studio that created posters for local shops. Raphael was smart, quiet, and hardworking. But in his life, like in many lives, people tried to control him with their words. One sentence could change his whole mood. One insult could make him angry for days. One cold silence from someone could break his heart. And he didn't understand something important. When someone can make you angry quickly, they control you. When someone can make you sad with one message, they control you. When someone can confuse you with their opinion, they control you. That is not strength. That is emotional slavery. People believe reacting quickly shows power. But reacting fast only shows that someone has found your emotional buttons. Every time you react without thinking, you give something away. Your peace, your focus, your energy, your strength. Now think in your own life. How many moments were destroyed because you reacted too fast? How many times did you shout at someone you love, then feel guilty later? How many messages did you wish you never sent? This is what happens when emotions become the driver of your life. The Office Story, new version. Let me tell you a story from Lunnebrook. Raphael worked with a team of 10 people. One day during a meeting, his manager, Mr. Grayson, a 47-year-old man who always spoke too fast, criticized him in front of everyone. It was unfair. It was not true. And it was embarrassing. Something exploded inside Raphael. His voice became loud. His face turned red. He defended himself with anger, not wisdom. Everyone in the room went silent. When the meeting ended, Mr. Grayson walked away calmly, like nothing happened. But Raphael, people didn't see him as hardworking anymore. They didn't see him as creative anymore. They saw him as the emotional one. One moment destroyed the image he built for years. Not because he was wrong, but because he reacted. Star the 5-second rule. Here is what strong people from any city, Lüneburg, Barcelona, Seoul, or anywhere, learn to do. They pause. When someone insults you, when someone lies about you, when someone ignores you, when someone tries to break you. Right arrow, don't speak. Right arrow, don't move. Right arrow, don't react. Just breathe. Inhale. Exhale. For 5 seconds. Because in those 5 seconds, something magical happens. The emotion calms. The fire lowers. The mind begins to think again. In those 5 seconds, you take back what they tried to steal. Your control. You can still speak later. But now your words will be smart, not emotional. This habit will change your relationships, your work, your family, your peace, everything. Because when you don't react, you are not weak. You are powerful, untouchable, free. Lesson 2. Most reactions become regrets. There are moments we wish we could erase. One angry message, one hurtful word, one loud argument, one emotional decision. We don't carry the pain that others gave us. We carry the pain that we created with our reaction. You don't cry because someone insulted you. You cry because you reacted emotionally and now feel regret. Reactions feel good in the moment, but afterwards they feel heavy. Reacting fast comes from fear, old wounds, or deep insecurity, not from strength. Let me tell you another story, one from a village near Lüneburg called Rivermere. The sisters' story, new version. In Rivermere lived 2 sisters, Elena, 34, and Mila, 29. They were very close. They laughed together, cooked together, and shared secrets like best friends. But one evening, during a family dinner, Mila made a small joke. It touched something sensitive, something about Elena's past that still hurt. And in that moment, something broke inside Elena. She shouted. Not a little, she shouted with years of old pain. She said words that did not come from her heart, but from her wounds. The room went silent. Mila left with tears. Days passed. Weeks passed. The relationship was never the same. Years later, Elena sat alone, looking at an old photo of them laughing on a bridge in Rivermere. She cried, not because of the joke Mila made, but because of her own reaction. One moment, one reaction, a lifetime of sadness. Star the cure, respond, don't react. When something painful happens, practice saying, this emotion is real, but this reaction is a choice. Yes, you feel hurt. Yes, you feel misunderstood. Yes, you want to fight. But you pause. You breathe. You stay silent. You let the emotion move through you, but you do not act on it. Ask yourself, am I reacting to this moment, or to something old inside me? Only when you feel calm, speak. Only when you understand your truth, respond. This habit will save your future. Because reacting may feel strong at first, but peace is stronger, and peace has no regret. Lesson 3. Silence is a superpower. People think silence means weakness, that quiet people are scared, that walking away means you lost. But the truth is different. It takes more strength to stay calm than to shout. It takes more wisdom to be silent than to argue. It takes more power to walk away than to fight. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of control. When you are quiet, people don't know what you think, what you feel, what you will do next. And that mystery is power. The social media story, new version. In the city of Lüneburg lived a man named Jonas. He was 31 and worked as a piano teacher in a small music school. One day, a former friend became jealous of him and posted lies about him online. Fake messages, fake screenshots, everything. Everyone expected Jonas to fight back, defend himself, shout, make videos. But Jonas said nothing. People called him weak. People said he was guilty. People said he was scared. He still said nothing. 6 months later, the truth came out. Not from Jonas, but from someone else who exposed the lies. Suddenly, the world saw Jonas differently. Not as weak, but as wise. Not as scared, but as dignified. He didn't scream. He didn't explain. He won quietly. How to use silence as power. In conflict, say, "I understand," and walk away. In drama, do not join the noise. Let truth rise on its own. In disrespect, do not shout. Do not cry. Do not explain. Just look at them calmly and say nothing. People will notice. And when they notice, you win. Not by reacting, but by rising above. The train continued moving across the countryside. Emily watched the soft green landscapes pass outside her window, small houses, bright fields, a wide blue sky. For a moment she felt peaceful. But then the memories returned. Her mother's voice, her sister's laughter, their little kitchen in Maplebridge, the smell of fresh bread, the sound of birds in the morning. Emily felt her chest tighten again. Her hometown once felt safe. Now it felt empty. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I hope I'm doing the right thing." Across from her, Mr. Parker was reading his newspaper, but he noticed Emily's trembling hands. He lowered the paper. "Change is heavy at first," he said softly. "But sometimes it's exactly what we need." Emily opened her eyes and tried to smile. "How do you know?" Mr. Parker folded his hands on his lap. "Because I moved to Hilford when I was your age," he said. "I was scared, completely alone. I didn't know anyone, but life has a strange way of guiding us exactly where we should be." Emily listened carefully. "And now?" she asked. He chuckled. "Now I'm an old man who drinks too much tea and gives advice to strangers on trains." Emily laughed for the first time in days. It felt warm, light, real. Emily's thoughts a quiet storm. Hours passed. Emily watched towns appear and disappear outside the window. She thought about her old job in Maplebridge. She worked in a small bakery making cookies, coffee, and sandwiches. She liked the job, but after a while everything began to repeat. Same streets, same faces, same days. After losing her parents, the town grew silent in her heart. Too silent. Her sister, Anna, had married and moved to another country. Emily was happy for her, but she still felt alone. She wanted a new chance, a new purpose, a new place to breathe. And so she chose Hilford. A small city, a peaceful city, but a city full of possibilities. Still, doubt whispered inside her. What if I fail? What if I can't make friends? What if I don't belong? She tried to push these thoughts away. A small accident. The train slowed as they approached the next city. People stood and collected their bags. A man walking past Emily accidentally bumped her suitcase. The suitcase fell open. Clothes spilled onto the floor. A photograph slipped out. It was a picture of Emily with her parents and her sister. They looked happy, young, complete. Emily quickly bent down and picked it up. Mr. Parker leaned forward. His voice softened again. "That's a beautiful family." Emily nodded slowly. Her throat tightened. "They are," she said quietly. But things changed. Mr. Parker didn't ask more. He simply said, "Even broken hearts can grow again." Emily looked at the photograph again. Her mother's warm eyes, her father's gentle smile, her sister hugging her shoulders. She breathed deeply. Then she closed the suitcase carefully. The journey continues. Hours later, the train rolled into Hilford's main station. For a moment, Emily just stared outside. The station was bigger than Maplebridge's. People walked quickly in all directions. Buses came and went. A man played a violin in the corner. Children laughed near the fountain. Emily whispered to herself, "This is it. Her new life. Her new beginning." Mr. Parker stood up and reached for his suitcase. "We're here," he said with a smile. "Are you ready?" Emily wasn't sure, but she nodded anyway. The first steps in Hilford. As soon as Emily stepped out of the train, a cool wind touched her face. The air smelled like coffee, rain, and something sweet she couldn't name. She took a deep breath. Hilford felt alive. People walked with purpose. Cars moved slowly on the street. Colorful signs hung above the station shops. Mr. Parker pointed toward the exit. "If you follow that road, you'll reach the city center," he explained. "There's a lovely bakery there. I think you'll like it." Emily smiled. "Thank you for everything." He shook his head. "No, thank you for the conversation. Sometimes we meet people for a reason." Emily didn't know what to say. She simply hugged him. It surprised both of them, but it felt right. Finding her new home. Emily dragged her suitcase out of the station. She had rented a small apartment online. It was only a 10-minute walk from the station. Or so the website said. Hilford felt big and loud at first. Cars honking. People chatting. A dog barking. But slowly, Emily began to see its charm. A bookstore on the corner with plants in the window. A music shop where someone played guitar. A small flower stand with bright yellow roses. She whispered, "Hilford, maybe we can be friends." After several turns, she finally reached a tall brick building. Apartment number 3B. She climbed the stairs. Her heart beat faster. The hallway was quiet. She could hear someone cooking. She could hear a TV in another room. Emily unlocked the door. The apartment was small, very small, but clean and bright. A tiny kitchen. A wooden table. A bed near the window. A closet that looked older than the city. But it was hers. Her new home. Emily dropped her suitcase and sat on the bed. She looked around and whispered, "I made it." But then the silence touched her. She realized she was truly alone now. Tears began to fall again. A knock on the door. Just as Emily tried to wipe her tears, someone knocked on her door. Knock, knock. Emily froze. Who could that be? She slowly walked to the door and opened it just a little. A young woman with curly brown hair stood outside. She held a plate of cookies. "Hi," the woman said cheerfully. "Are you the new neighbor, apartment 3B?" Emily nodded shyly. "Yes, I just arrived." The woman smiled warmly. "Welcome, I'm Mia Torres. I live in 3A. I brought you some cookies." Emily blinked. Cookies? Just like the ones she used to bake in Maplebridge. Something warm touched her heart. "Thank you," she whispered. Mia looked at her with gentle eyes. "Moving can be scary. If you need anything, I'm right next door." Emily held the plate tightly. I really appreciate it." Mia smiled and said, "Come visit any time, even if you just want someone to talk to." Then she walked back to her apartment. Emily closed the door slowly. She looked at the cookies. She whispered, "Maybe I'm not alone after all." First night in Hilford. Emily sat at her little wooden table and ate one of the cookies. It tasted simple. Soft, sweet. She felt comfort in every bite. She looked outside the window. The city lights sparkled. Cars moved like glowing insects. People walked under the warm street lamps. Emily hugged her knees and whispered, "Day one complete." She didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But for the first time since her parents died, she felt a small seed of hope. A tiny one, but real. And that was enough. The next morning, sunlight slowly filled Emily's small apartment. It touched the walls, the floor, and her tired face. She opened her eyes and needed a moment to remember where she was. Hilford. Her new home. Her new beginning. For a second, she felt nervous again, but then she noticed the plate of cookies Mia had brought, and a warm feeling returned to her chest. "Today will be okay," she whispered. A slow, careful morning. Emily took a shower, made tea, and opened her suitcase to unpack her clothes. As she folded her shirts and placed them in the old wooden closet, she noticed something. The closet smelled like lavender. Someone must have used lavender soap or lavender perfume inside it. The scent was soft and calming. It reminded Emily of her mother, who always kept lavender in their home. Emily closed her eyes and smiled sadly. "You're here with me," she whispered. She finished unpacking and took out her notebook, her companion during difficult days. She wrote, "Day 2 in Hilford. I feel scared but hopeful. Met Mia, she's very kind. I want to explore the city today. I want to find the bakery Mr. Parker mentioned." She closed the notebook and felt a little stronger. Exploring Hilford. Emily stepped outside. The hallway was quiet, but she could hear Mia's music through the wall, something soft and cheerful. Outside, the morning felt crisp and fresh. People were already walking to work. A man walked his dog. A woman sold flowers at a little stand on the corner. Emily looked at the flowers: yellow roses, pink tulips, small pink carnations. She remembered her mother again. Her mother loved yellow roses. She always kept a vase on the kitchen table. Emily whispered, "Maybe I should buy one." But she decided to wait. She still needed to be careful with money. She continued walking toward the city center. The streets were cleaner than she expected. Trees lined the sidewalks. Small shops stood side by side: bookstores, cafes, clothing shops, even a tiny art studio. Emily passed a group of students laughing loudly. For a moment, she felt invisible. But she kept walking. The bakery from the train story. And then she saw it. A bakery at the corner of a quiet street. A sign in the window read, "Harper's Bakery, fresh bread every day." Emily stopped. This must be the bakery Mr. Parker mentioned. Inside, the light was soft and warm. People sat near the windows eating pastries and drinking coffee. Emily pulled the door open. A little bell rang above her. Ding ding. The warm smell of bread and sugar wrapped around her like a hug. She closed her eyes for a second, breathing it in. A woman behind the counter smiled at her. She was tall, with dark hair tied in a bun and soft brown eyes. "Good morning, first time here." Emily nodded awkwardly. "Yes, I just moved to Hilford yesterday." The woman placed freshly baked croissants on a tray. "Welcome to the city. I'm Sarah Harper, the bakery owner." Emily smiled. "I'm Emily." Sarah's smile widened. "Nice to meet you, Emily. Would you like to try our morning special, half-price croissants?" Emily looked at the golden, flaky pastries. They looked delicious. "Yes, please." Sarah wrapped one for her and handed it over. "Here you go, and welcome to Hilford again. I hope you like it here." Emily felt warmth in her chest again. "Thank you," she said softly. She took a seat at a small wooden table near the window. A croissant and new thoughts. As Emily ate her croissant, she looked around the bakery. A young couple shared a plate of muffins. Two old men played chess in the corner. A small boy held a donut bigger than his hand. Emily felt something new, a sense of belonging. She whispered to herself, maybe this could be my place. After finishing her croissant, she stood and looked around one last time. Then she walked to the counter again. Sarah looked up. Everything okay? Emily took a deep breath. Do you need help here? Any part-time workers? Sarah looked surprised, but pleasantly. Actually, yes, I've been looking for someone. Do you have experience? Emily nodded. I worked in a bakery in my hometown for 3 years. Sarah smiled slowly. Would you like to come in tomorrow morning? We can do a trial shift. Emily's heart jumped. Yes, I'd love to. Sarah laughed warmly. Great. Be here at 7 a.m. We'll see how you feel after a day of work. Emily thanked her again and stepped outside. She almost couldn't believe it. A job. So soon. So unexpectedly. She looked up at the sky and whispered, thank you, whoever is listening. A visit to the park. Emily decided to walk through Hilford Central Park next. It was large and beautiful, full of tall trees, benches, and a lake where ducks swam quietly. She sat on a bench and watched people. A father teaching his daughter to ride a bike. Two friends jogging and laughing. An old woman feeding birds from a small bag. Emily felt calm, deeply calm. She took out her phone and sent a message to her sister, Anna. Emily. Hi Anna, I arrived. Hilford is beautiful. After a minute, a message appeared. Anna, I'm so happy you made it. Send me photos later. I miss you. Emily felt her chest tighten. Emily, I miss you too. She put the phone away, and she let the peaceful silence fill her again. Returning home. As Emily returned to her apartment, she felt lighter. The world looked softer, cleaner, friendlier. When she reached her building, she heard laughter from one of the windows. She climbed the stairs and reached her door. Suddenly, Mia opened her own door at the same time. Oh, Emily, hi, Mia said brightly. How was your morning? Emily smiled. Good, actually very good. I found a bakery I like. And I might get a job there. Mia gasped dramatically. Wow, that's amazing. See, Hilford is already giving you good things. Emily laughed softly. Maybe it is. Mia leaned against her door. Listen, I'm making pasta tonight. I always make too much. If you want, you can come over. Emily felt shy, but she also felt grateful. I'd like that, she said quietly. Mia smiled warmly. Great, come around 7. They waved goodbye and went into their apartments. Emily sat on her bed and took a deep breath. She looked around at her small, new home. Today was better. Much better. And maybe tomorrow will be better too. Evening at Mia's apartment. At 7, Emily knocked on Mia's door. Mia opened it immediately. Come in, she said, practically pulling her inside. The apartment was colorful and warm. Plants stood on the windowsill. A large painting hung on the wall. Soft music played in the background. It smelled like tomatoes, basil, and garlic. Mia brought 2 plates of pasta to the table. I hope you're hungry, she said. Emily laughed. I'm always hungry. They began to eat. The pasta was delicious. Wow, Emily said, her eyes widening. This is amazing. Mia looked proud. Cooking is my love language, she said. I show affection with food. Emily felt her heart soften again. They talked for a long time. About work. About their families. About movies they liked. About music. About dreams. Emily learned that Mia worked as a graphic designer from home. She also learned that Mia grew up in Hilford and knew everyone and everything here. Mia said, "If you ever get lost, just call me. I'll come find you." Emily felt something warm inside. A new friendship. A real one. A strong moment of emotion. When Emily returned to her own apartment, she sat on her bed. And suddenly, tears filled her eyes. But this time, they were not sad tears. They were tears of relief. Tears of healing. Tears of hope. She whispered, "I think I can do this. I think I can build a life here." She hugged her pillow and closed her eyes. Tomorrow, she would start her trial shift at the bakery. Tomorrow, everything might change again. But tonight, she felt safe and grateful and stronger than before. The next morning arrived quietly. Emily woke before her alarm. She lay in bed for a moment, listening to the soft city sounds outside her window, birds, distant traffic, someone closing a door down the hall. Today was the day of her trial shift at Harper's Bakery. Her stomach felt nervous, but her heart felt ready. She sat up and whispered to herself, "You've done this before, you can do it again." Preparing for her first day, Emily dressed carefully, simple black jeans, a clean white shirt, and her old bakery apron from Maplebridge. She tied her hair back and smiled at her reflection in the small mirror above the sink. "You look like someone who can handle today," she whispered. She took a deep breath, grabbed her bag, and stepped outside. The hallway smelled like toast from someone's breakfast. The wooden floor creaked under her feet as she walked toward the stairs. Mia's door opened at the exact same moment. "Emily," Mia whispered loudly, holding a mug of coffee. "Good luck today, you're going to do great." Emily felt her nerves soften. "Thanks, I'm excited, a little scared." Mia smiled with warm confidence. "Scared is normal, but you're talented and kind. People want workers like you." Emily felt her cheeks warm. "I'll try my best." Mia waved her off as Emily left the building. The walk to the bakery. The morning air was cool. Light clouds floated above the rooftops. Emily walked quickly, feeling both hopeful and anxious. She passed the flower stand again, the same yellow roses she noticed yesterday. One of them seemed to almost glow in the morning light. She whispered, "Someday," a promise to herself that she would buy one when she felt strong enough. People walked past her, some in suits, some carrying backpacks, some holding coffee cups. Emily felt a little out of place, but she kept moving forward. After 10 minutes, she reached Harper's Bakery. The lights were already on. Bread was lined up in the window. The door was unlocked. Emily pulled it open. Ding ding. Sarah looked up from behind the counter and smiled. "Good morning, Emily. Ready to start?" Emily nodded. "Yes, thank you for giving me this chance." Learning the bakery routine. Sarah led her to the back room, a warm, busy space full of bowls, ovens, flour, and trays. "First rule," Sarah said, handing Emily an apron. "If you make a mess, clean it right away." Emily laughed. "I can do that." "Second rule, always smile at customers, even when you're tired." Emily nodded. "And the last rule," Sarah said seriously, "don't be afraid to ask questions." Emily felt relief. "I promise I will." Sarah showed her everything: how to warm the pastries properly, how to pack cookies, how to wipe the counters quickly, how to speak to customers with kindness. Emily listened carefully. And soon she was working. Her first customers. The bakery grew busy quickly. Emily took orders. "Good morning. 1 cappuccino and a blueberry muffin, of course." "Here, your change. Have a wonderful day." "Yes, we have gluten-free options." Her hands shook sometimes, but she kept breathing slowly. Sarah watched her with proud eyes. During a short break, Sarah said, "You're doing great, you're a natural." Emily blushed. "Thank you, I'm trying." "Trying is enough," Sarah said with a smile. A special customer appears. Around 10 a.m., the door opened again. Ding ding. Emily glanced up and froze, standing there with a newspaper under his arm. Mr. Parker, the man from the train. He smiled when he saw her. "Ah, Miss Emily Rivers, I had a feeling I'd find you here." Emily laughed in surprise. "Mr. Parker, what are you doing here?" He held up his newspaper. "I always come here for my morning tea." Sarah looked at Emily with amusement. "You two know each other." Emily nodded proudly. "We met on the train, he helped me a lot." Sarah nodded. "Well, your friend gets a free tea today." Mr. Parker pretended to be shocked. "Free for me, I should come here more often." Emily laughed as she prepared his tea. She handed it to him with a smile. "Here you go, thank you for everything." Mr. Parker tapped the counter softly. "I told you, Hilford can be a wonderful place." Emily felt warmth bloom inside her chest. A challenging moment. Later in the morning, a long line formed. Emily tried to stay calm, but the pressure felt heavy. A man at the front looked impatient. "Can you hurry? I'm late for work," he said, tapping his foot. Emily nodded quickly. "Sorry, sir, I'm new here." She tried to ring up his order, but her fingers trembled. She pressed the wrong button. The machine beeped loudly. Emily froze. Her heart raced. Her throat tightened. "Not now, please, not now." Sarah noticed and walked over. "I'll take care of this one," she said gently. She smiled at the man. "Thank you for your patience." In seconds, the order was done. Sarah turned to Emily softly. "Hey, breathe." Emily inhaled shakily, then exhaled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I messed up." Sarah shook her head. "No, you're learning, it's normal." Her calm voice felt like a warm blanket. Emily nodded slowly. And she continued working. A sweet reward. When lunchtime arrived, Sarah handed Emily a cinnamon roll. "Here," she said. "You earned this." Emily laughed. "Thank you, it smells amazing." They sat at a small table in the corner and shared stories. Emily told her about Maplebridge, about her first baking job, about her sister moving away. Sarah listened with real interest. Emily hesitated, then added more quietly, "I lost my parents recently." Sarah's expression softened. "I'm so sorry, Emily." Emily nodded. "Everything started to feel empty after that. I needed a new place, a new life." Sarah reached out and squeezed her hand. "And you chose Hilford. I'm glad you did." Emily felt tears rise, but this time they didn't feel heavy. They felt healing. The end of the shift. At 3 p.m., Emily washed the last tray and wiped the final counter. Sarah walked over with a warm, serious expression. Emily held her breath. "So," Sarah said slowly, "how did you feel about today?" Emily bit her lip. Tired, a little nervous, but happy. Sarah smiled. "Good, because I'd like to officially offer you the job." Emily gasped. "Really?" "Really," Sarah said with a grin. "You're kind, you're careful, you work hard, I want you here." Emily felt her whole body warm. Joy filled every part of her. Thank you so much." Sarah laughed. "You start officially on Monday, but come anytime. This place is yours now too." Walking home with a light heart. Emily walked home with a small paper bag from the bakery. Sarah insisted she take some leftover pastries. The sun was bright. Birds flew between the trees. The city felt warmer, kinder, safer. She whispered, "I did it." As she reached her building, she saw Mia sitting on the front steps. The moment Mia saw her, she jumped up. "How did it, Gio?" Emily laughed. "I got the job." Mia screamed and hugged her tightly. "I knew it, I knew it." Emily laughed into her shoulder. "Thank you for believing in me." Mia stepped back. "Of course I believe in you. You're stronger than you think." Emily felt her eyes fill with tears again, but this time happy ones. A quiet night and a brave heart. Later that evening, after showing Mia the pastries, after laughing together, after sharing stories from the day, Emily sat alone in her apartment. She looked at her small bed, her lavender-scented closet, her little wooden table, the streetlights outside the window. She placed her hand on her heart. It beat calmly, steadily, strongly. She whispered into the quiet room, "Hilford, I think I'm starting to love you." And for the first time in a long time, Emily felt truly, deeply hopeful. Tomorrow would come with new challenges, new questions, new emotions. But tonight, she felt proud of herself. And that was enough. The next morning, Emily woke up to the soft sound of rain tapping against her window. She rolled over, stretching her arms and feeling the warmth of her blanket. Today was her first official day at Harper's Bakery, not a trial shift, the real thing. Her heart raced with excitement and nervousness. She got up quietly so she wouldn't wake Mia. Morning preparations. Emily made herself a small breakfast, a slice of toast with honey and a cup of tea. She stared out the window at the wet streets below. People walked quickly, umbrellas in hand, splashing through puddles. Her stomach tightened. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. "You've been through worse. Today is just another step." She dressed carefully, tying her hair neatly. She looked in the mirror. "You look like someone who belongs here. You are ready." Emily smiled. Walking to work in the rain. The rain had slowed to a gentle drizzle. Emily grabbed her umbrella and headed toward Harper's Bakery. The streets were slippery, and puddles reflected the city lights and trees. She passed the flower stand again. The yellow roses glistened with raindrops. "Someday," she whispered again, remembering her promise. Emily arrived at the bakery and pushed the door open. Ding, ding. Inside, the smell of fresh bread and pastries warmed her like a hug. Sarah was already at the counter, preparing the morning orders. "Good morning, Emily," Sarah said. "You're on schedule." Emily nodded. "Yes, ready to start." A busy morning. The bakery quickly filled with customers. Emily moved carefully but confidently. She greeted everyone with a smile and handled the orders as best as she could. A man in a business suit looked impatient. "Coffee now," he barked. Emily kept her calm and said gently, "I'm preparing it for you right now, sir. Thank you for your patience." The man grunted but nodded. Sarah leaned toward Emily and whispered, "See, calm wins. You handled that perfectly." Emily's confidence grew with each customer. An unexpected challenge. Around 10:30, a group of 5 young tourists entered the bakery. They were loud, laughing, and asking questions. Emily felt her nerves spike. But she remembered Mr. Parker's advice from the train. Pause before you react, control your emotions, respond with calm. She took a deep breath and smiled. "Good morning, how can I help you?" One of them spoke quickly, almost too fast to understand. Emily listened carefully, then repeated the order slowly to confirm. The tourists laughed politely and nodded. "You're very good at this," one said. Emily smiled. "Thank you, I'm learning every day." A moment of reflection. During a quiet moment, Emily stood near the window and looked outside. The rain had stopped and sunlight reflected off wet streets. Children were jumping in puddles. A dog ran after a ball. Emily thought about Maplebridge, her parents, her sister. She felt the familiar pang of loss. But she also felt something new, hope. She whispered softly, "I'm doing it. I'm building a new life." Lunch break with Mia. Mia arrived at the bakery just as Emily finished her morning tasks. "Ready for lunch?" Mia asked. Emily nodded eagerly. They walked to a small cafe nearby. Over sandwiches and tea, they talked about their lives. "How are you feeling about the bakery?" Mia asked. Emily paused. "I'm nervous but happy. I feel like I can belong here, like this is the right place for me." Mia smiled warmly. "I knew you'd find your place. And remember, every challenge is just a step toward growth." Emily nodded, feeling grateful for her friend. An afternoon surprise. Back at the bakery, Emily finished organizing the pastry display. She felt her confidence growing with each task. Suddenly, the door opened. Ding ding. A young man entered. He looked around nervously. Emily greeted him warmly. "Good afternoon, how can I help you?" The man approached the counter. "Oh, hi, I'm here to ask about a part-time position. I saw a notice in the window." Emily smiled. "Of course, let me get Sarah, she can help you." Sarah appeared quickly. "Hello, interested in working with us?" The young man nodded. "Yes, I've worked in a cafe before and I love baking." Sarah smiled. "Great, come back tomorrow for a trial shift." Emily watched him leave and felt proud. She realized she had learned something important. Helping others succeed gave her strength too. A walk in Hilford. After the bakery closed, Emily walked home slowly. The streets were calm. The city seemed softer now that she understood it a little better. She passed the park, the flower stand, and even the bookstore she had noticed on her first day. She remembered her first moments in Hilford, the fear, the loneliness, the doubt. Now she felt calm. "I can do this," she whispered. "I am strong, I can live here, I can grow here." Evening with Mia. That evening, Mia invited Emily over for dinner again. They cooked together, laughed, and shared stories about their childhoods. Emily realized she hadn't felt this relaxed in months. "Thank you for being my friend," Emily said quietly. Mia reached out and squeezed her hand. "Always, friends are for life, and you're not alone here." Emily smiled, feeling warmth fill her chest. A quiet reflection. Back in her apartment, Emily looked at her small notebook. She wrote, "Day 3 in Hilford. I worked my first official day at the bakery. I felt nervous, but I stayed calm. I helped a young man find a job opportunity. I have a friend in Mia. I feel happy." She closed the notebook and hugged it to her chest. "I'm proud of myself," she whispered. The city lights outside twinkled like tiny stars. Emily felt at peace. A promise to herself. Before sleep, Emily placed the photo of her family on her bedside table. She touched it gently. "I miss you," she whispered to her parents and sister. "But I'm okay. I'm growing, I'm building a life, and I'll be strong, I promise." She took a deep breath. And for the first time in months, Emily felt truly calm. Not because life was perfect. Not because her past was gone. But because she chose to respond with strength and peace. She closed her eyes and fell asleep, dreaming of tomorrow, her future, full of possibilities. Emily's journey had just begun. But she had learned an important lesson. Peace comes from calm, courage, and kindness, not from reacting to fear or sadness. And that knowledge gave her real power. The next morning, sunlight filled Emily's small apartment. It was Saturday, and Harper's Bakery would open later than usual. Emily took her time waking up, enjoying the calm silence. She made herself tea and a small breakfast, then walked to her window to look at Hilford. The city felt alive but welcoming. People moved calmly, some walking dogs, some talking in small groups, some sitting quietly on benches. Emily whispered, "This is home now. This is where I belong." A day of reflection. Emily sat with her notebook again. She wrote slowly, thinking about all that had happened since her arrival. Moving to Hilford. Meeting Mia. Finding Harper's Bakery. Her trial shift and first official day. Learning to stay calm in stressful moments. Feeling hope again after a long time. She smiled softly. "I've grown," she wrote. "I've learned that life doesn't have to control me. I can control my emotions. I can respond, not react." The rain from yesterday had washed the streets clean, and now the air smelled of fresh earth and flowers. Emily realized something. The city reflected her journey. It had been stormy, but now it felt bright and full of promise. A surprise visitor. Just as Emily finished writing, the doorbell rang. It was Mr. Parker, carrying a small package. "Good morning, Emily," he said, smiling gently. "I brought something for you, a little welcome gift." Emily opened the package carefully. Inside was a small basket with fresh bread, jam, and a note. The note read, "Life is full of new beginnings. Take each day one step at a time. Mr. Parker." Emily's eyes filled with tears, but they were happy tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "This means a lot." A walk through Hilford. Emily decided to walk through the city before heading to the bakery. She passed the park, the flower stand, and the bookstore. People smiled at her. She smiled back. When she reached the bakery, Sarah was already arranging pastries in the window. "Good morning, Emily," Sarah called. "You're early today." Emily laughed softly. "I wanted to enjoy the city before work," she said. Sarah nodded. "Smart choice. Sometimes a calm mind is the most productive." Emily remembered the lessons she had learned. Pause before reacting, respond with calm, protect her energy, stay silent when needed, and let go of ego. She realized she had been practicing these lessons every day since arriving in Hilford. A busy day at the bakery. The bakery was busy as usual, but Emily was prepared. She greeted each customer warmly. She handled the rush with calm efficiency. She laughed with Mia when she arrived for a visit. She helped a young boy choose his favorite pastry. She comforted a worried mother trying to calm her toddler. Emily realized something amazing. When she stayed calm, people noticed. People trusted her. People felt safe around her. By the end of the day, she felt proud. Not because she had been perfect, but because she had stayed strong, steady, and kind throughout every challenge. Evening reflection with Mia. That evening, Emily and Mia sat on the balcony of Mia's apartment, looking at the city lights. "You've changed a lot in these few days," Mia said softly. "I can see it. You're calmer, you're stronger, and happier." Emily smiled. "It wasn't easy," she admitted. "Some moments I wanted to give up. Some moments I felt fear and sadness. But I learned something important. I learned I don't have to react to every problem. I can choose peace instead." Mia nodded. "That's real strength, Emily. Not reacting is more powerful than fighting. You're finally free." Emily hugged her friend tightly. "Thank you, Mia," she whispered. "For everything." A message to herself. Back in her apartment, Emily placed her notebook on the table and wrote a final note. Day 5 in Hilford. I am learning to live peacefully. I am building a life full of hope and kindness. I am no longer controlled by fear or sadness. I am calm, I am strong, I am free. She closed the notebook and placed it under her pillow. "I will remember this feeling," she whispered. "I will carry this strength every day." A promise for the future. Emily stood by the window and looked at Hilford one last time before going to bed. She realized her life had changed completely. She had friends who supported her. She had a job that gave her purpose. She had learned to respond with strength and calm. She had found hope after a long time of pain. She whispered softly, "I am ready for everything life will bring. I am strong enough to face challenges. I will stay calm. I will protect my energy. I will be kind to myself and others. I will live freely and fully." The end of Emily's journey, a lesson for all. Emily's story teaches us something powerful. Control your emotions. Reacting gives away your power. Responding builds strength. Protect your energy. Not every problem deserves your attention. Stay silent when needed. Silence can be stronger than words. Let go of ego. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Choose calm over chaos. Calmness brings clarity, respect, and peace. Emily is no longer a lost girl in a new city. She is a young woman with hope, courage, and control over her life. And so can you. Final words. Remember, life will challenge you. People may test your patience. Situations may try to shake your peace. But you have a choice. React and give away your power, or respond and gain strength, calm, and freedom. Emily chose the second path. She stayed calm, she built her life, she found peace. And now you can do the same. Emily Rivers smiled in the quiet of her new home. She was calm, she was strong, she was free. And that is the most powerful feeling of all.